Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're plunging into something pretty profound. It's this idea you see weaving through history, even now really, of two churches. Now, we should be clear, these aren't literal buildings or specific denominations.
Exactly. They're more like archetypes. That's
Yeah.
how our sources frame them, to show this fundamental split.
Right. And the sources we're looking at give us this really comprehensive framework. It spans different eras, biblical periods, plus there's this powerful story from ancient texts that just brings it all together.
It really does.
So our mission today is basically to unpack this for you, see why it still resonates. Okay, let's dive in.
So the fundamental idea, the sources present is this distinction between what they call the bride church and the harlot church.
Yeah.
It's quite stark. The bride represents genuine faithfulness, sticking to divine principles.
And the harlot.
That represents the opposite, really. Spiritual compromise, maybe unfaithfulness, turning away.
And what's striking, as you said, is this isn't just a one-off idea. The sources show it echoing again and again, like these recurring patterns throughout history.
Yes, exactly. They lay out these contrasts. For instance, think way back to the beginning. They talk about the Eden church maybe representing that original state of communion, of love.
Okay.
Contrasted with the serpent church embodying deception, oppression, power over others.
Right from the start, and it keeps going.
It does. Think about Noah. The sources paint the Noah church as, fearing God, listening, building the ark.
Building the ark, right.
And then you have the Nimrod church, defiantly building its own thing, the Tower of Babel, trying to reach heaven on human terms.
That defiance again.
Or later, you see the Israel church, focused on honoring God as king, and then contrasted with the Babylon church, which the sources describe as getting, captivated by worldly things, using sacred temple items to praise idols.
Wow. So it's this constant theme, one group aligning with divine commands, the other drifting.
That's the core pattern they illustrate. Yeah. Alignment versus drifting, or even outright defiance.
So then the sources give us characteristics, right, to help identify these types.
They do, and they use some very vivid imagery.
Yeah, like the bride church is described as wheat, good, nourishing.
And wise virgins, prepared, vigilant.
Soil, too, where truth can actually grow.
Exactly. And those sealed by God, marked as belonging.
And fundamentally, those who keep God's commandments and have the testimony of Jesus. It's about faithfulness, isn't it?
Absolutely. Fidelity and truth. Then on the other side...
It's the opposite imagery.
Right. The harlot church is weeds. Looks similar, maybe, but chokes out the real thing.
Foolish virgins, unprepared, complacent.
Stony ground, where truth just can't take root.
And that chilling one, those who receive the mark of the beast, allegiance elsewhere.
Yeah. It really highlights this contrast between, let's say, inner spiritual reality and maybe just outward appearance.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. The sources bring in that story about King Solomon.
Ah, yes. Solomon's judgment. It's such a powerful analogy for this.
Can you remind us? 2 women, 1 baby.
That's right. 2 women come before Solomon. 1 baby died in the night. And now both women claim the living child as their own. There's a dispute.
And Solomon's solution is drastic.
He proposes dividing the living child in 2 with a sword, give half to each.
Shocking, right?
Definitely. So how do they react? And what does that tell us, according to these sources?
Well, it's the moment of truth. One woman cries out, no, give the baby to her, just let him live.
She'd rather give him up than see him harmed.
Exactly. The other woman says, fine, divide him. Neither of us will have him.
Oof.
So the sources interpret this as the 2 churches. One aligns with God, the other with, say Satan. The sword Solomon wields isn't just metal, it's like the sword of the word, truth itself. It reveals their true nature.
So the real mother, the true church analog, wants life, preservation. Precisely. She desires to save life, keep the commandments, you could say. The other is willing to destroy life, doesn't keep the commandments. It lays bare where the allegiance truly lies.
That's a really stark illustration. And speaking of the true church, the bride, the sources mention that while it fully emerged, with Jesus and the new covenant.
It's through his blood.
Right. But a form of it, this faithful remnant, existed even back in the Old Testament times, making covenants, staying true.
That's an important point. It's not entirely new, that impulse towards fidelity.
So wrapping this up, what's the takeaway for you listening? This whole deep dive into the 2 churches, it really seems to underscore this ongoing need, doesn't it? To discern. To look closely at the paths, the messages, the systems around us. Which ones genuinely foster life and truth?
And which ones maybe despite appearances, lead away from it.
Exactly.
Maybe this raises a final question for you to think about. How can this framework, this idea of discerning between what truly preserves life and adheres to core principles, how can that help you critically evaluate things, not just in a religious context, but any information, any group, any system you encounter? What are its real characteristics? What's its true aim? Something to consider.